This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health is considering whether or not it's feasible to host the annual holiday carnival in country. This coming from Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville today. He knows that the company responsible for the carnival has submitted a request to come into country.
We in the Ministry of Health need to look at whether or not it's feasible at this particular time and where we are with the pandemic. We are watching our numbers. Things are looking good for us at this time. But we need to be vigilant because the possibility of the numbers going up exists. And so yes, they have applied and we are looking to see whether or not it's feasible for them to come in at this particular time.
Now, from what we understand, a company by the name of Midway's McCafferty Enterprises made a Facebook post indicating that they would be coming back to the Bahamas for the annual carnival, noting that an update will be provided once a definite opening date is confirmed. However, Dr. Darville has confirmed that the request hasn't been approved at this time. If approved, this would be the first time the carnival has graced our shores since the onset of the pandemic in 2020. And with face-to-face learning set to resume early next year, Education, Technical and Vocational Training Minister Glenys Hannah Martin says her ministry is working to address the learning gap caused as a direct result of the COVID-19 pandemic, as many students in the public school system face challenges with virtual learning.
Over the last 2 years, since the first COVID case in the Bahamas, there has been tremendous disruptions in our children's education. It's the almost 2 years in our children's education, and significant gaps in learning have occurred. The effect of this is serious and can be long-lasting. We in the Bahamas will do all that we can to counter the negative effects of this experience on our children.
Minister Hannah Martin adds that we must all join hands, including principals, administrators, teachers, support staff, parents, and the wider community, along with the Ministries of Health and Wellness and Social Services and Urban Development, to get children not only to come back into the classroom, but back on track. Students in public schools, as well as some private schools, have been learning via virtual learning or hybrid models since last year. Deputy Director of Education, Ms. Sharon Poitier, also chimed in on what the ministry will do when it comes to the learning gap, while adding that national examinations, including GLAT, will be administered on time this academic year.
We are looking very, very diligently at what we call our responses to intervention. And so what this means is that when students return to the classroom, they will be assessed, they will be diagnosed, and those will be put into one of three categories. Those children who are in critical need of intervention, those who require moderate need, and those who are currently at grade level and do not need that intense intervention.
Minister Hannah Martin contends that every effort must be made by everyone, public and private sector, parents and civil society, and even the church, to ensure that our children do not fall through the cracks, as this cannot and must not happen. And affordable housing has long been a challenge for the ever-growing Bahamian population. And according to some, the previous minister-led administration did not do enough or anything to provide more housing solutions and opportunities. On Monday, Minister responsible for housing, JoBeth Colby-Davis, updated the media on the affordable homes that also include plans for the family islands. Jarino Saunders has more.
For many people, it takes nearly a lifetime and a lot of sacrifices to own your own home. And for far too many Bahamians, becoming a homeowner is still only a dream. The previous administration left plans in the works for several new housing developments, including the Carmichael West subdivision. JoBeth Colby-Davis, the Minister of Transport and Housing, says the public can expect to hear more on affordable housing and how to apply for housing following a number of fact-finding missions that are expected to take place this week.
This week I'll be provided with more information from my technical team. We've been doing a lot of heavy work and review. I spoke about it in my contribution about some of the infrastructure work that has to be completed in Carmichael. That's just fairly there, and so we can possibly see that one and well on its way for getting homes constructed. There are a few other properties that we've identified throughout New Providence.
While the Carmichael housing development is progressing and the Prospect Ridge project is under review, Mrs. Colby Davis recognizes that there is also a serious demand for affordable housing in the Family Islands.
We're going to be taking trips this week to Abaco, Grand Bahama, and Eleuthera to identify some properties there. So going to be quite a few projects rolled out over the course of time, but more information will be coming from the ministry once I am done with my travels this week, so that we can sit down and provide where we'll start and pinpoint for people how they can start positioning themselves to make the applications and apply for their homes.
The minister also sought to explain why there has been such a long wait for those applying to the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation for affordable homes.
So if you had people applying from pre-2017, then all of those applications just sat there because there were no houses to put them in. So what needs to happen is, first of all, I need to build some houses, and then we can respond to the applications and then new ones that are coming in as well.
As for the government-owned affordable rental properties here in the capital, Mrs. Colby Davis says her first priority is to ensure that current living conditions are improved before partnering with the Ministry of Social Services to consider building more apartment complexes. Jcn Saunders for Jcn News.
And if you or a relative live in one of the government-owned rental apartment units and have been frustrated by ongoing issues and problems in your complex, you should know that there are indications from the government to address many of those challenges. According to the Minister of Housing and Transport, JoBeth Colby Davis, one of her goals is to first improve the standard of living in the various government-owned units at East Street, Coconut Grove, Windsor Road, and Sutton Street off Kemp Road.
Well, I think right now what we're trying to do is make sure that I'm not a slum landlord and fix some of those homes that we now have under the ministry's, not just the affordable housing, the rental facilities that we have, where persons are renting from the government and living in these apartments, but the conditions are not really good. And so that's what I've asked my technical team to pull, and we can look at the conditions and how we can get those repaired, and so the conditions can be livable before we enter into another program where we do that or build more of them.
As the government has plans to build more of the affordable renting units, Mrs. Colby Davis informed that her ministry intends to partner with other government agencies like the Department of Social Services to consider the possibility of building more inner-city government-owned rental units.
I know I've spoken with my colleagues, Minister of Social Services, and he wants to partner with housing to build a little bit more of them. So Social Services can use as temp homes for 3 months, 6 months, as opposed to the 7 days that you normally hear them saying they can only provide for housing for some of their persons at Social Services. So it's a lot of work, and so we're looking at, first of all, how we can get those properties fixed and renovated to a standard that is safe and humane, and then we can go from there and decide what else we do and how we partner with other ministries to provide housing.
Stay with us. Our final story is up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.